Y'all ready? Let's get it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to I Got Next. You see Aunt Bailey at the top of the screen, and we have the one and only Hotep Jesus joining us tonight. How y'all doing, gentlemen? Everybody doing all right?
Pretty good, man.
Huh?
Pretty good. Had a productive.
Yeah. So this morning, Aunt sends me this little series of clips of him just going off in one of his games, and so that actually spurred the topic for tonight's show. We're going to be talking about what it's like to be in that flow state, be in the zone, to really be just knocking it down, and the game is just flowing through you, versus when you're struggling to find that, and how to maximize that time. So let's just get into it. Ant, describe, like, as you're going through that. I'm gonna play the little clip here, and I'm gonna bring your mic up while it's going down, so you can tell us what's going through you as this shit's going down. So you knocked down. You went on a personal 9-4 run right there. You cut the lead down, and actually gave your team the lead. So what when you're just feeling it like that, what's going through you?
You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So like, there was a clip before that. I missed my first shot. So as a shooter, like in the game, once you like miss, you're kind of thinking like, oh man, like you're constantly thinking when you miss, like, what did I do wrong? Did it come off my hand wrong? Did I not, walk into my shot? Was it a lack of, momentum? Like, as soon as you miss, you know why you miss, right? But when you get hot, like once you see your first one go through, you're not thinking about it. And then once you see that second one go through, you're definitely not thinking about it. You're thinking like, oh, I'm about to turn up, right? So like, I call it the flow state. Everybody got, you call it in the zone, whatever you want to call it. But I call it the flow state because you're really flowing. You're not thinking about anything. So when things are going good, you're not thinking, oh, was my footwork wrong? Did the ball come off my hand weird? Was I off balance?
Mm-hmm.
You're just thinking, I'm about to give this guy buckets. You're not thinking at all. And that's the best type of state you want to be in, when you're not thinking that at all. You hear some professionals say, it's almost like an outer body experience. And that's really what it is, because you're just in that zone. You're not thinking about anything. You're just confident in yourself. And that's all it takes sometimes, is to just see one go through the rim.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of my email this morning, where I talked about how the human has three minds.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have a higher mind, conscious mind, and subconscious mind. And the title of that email was How to Work Without Working. You let the unconscious mind do it and free up the conscious mind. And that's a lot what you're saying here is the conscious mind can distract, right? Because you're thinking about all these different things that have gone wrong. But when you're in that flow state, that's pure unconscious mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's pure unconscious or subconscious mind. I know Carl Jung calls it unconscious mind. I like to call it subconscious mind. Both are interchangeable, but that's exactly what that is, man. That's the subconscious mind at its best, and you can get like that even in the business world. When I'm at my desk and I'm flowing through my day, I don't use my conscious mind. I sort of let the subconscious mind dictate the flow of things, what I should do next, and this, that, and the third. And then I preserve my conscious mind for execution of just the tasks. But I totally agree with Ant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned in your email that, like, if you have too much of your focus of your conscious mind on that stuff that it actually gets in your own way.
Yeah.
And that's just like what Ant was talking about. Like when you start thinking of like what went wrong, did it come off my hand wrong? Now, if you're thinking about that, that's why I used to mess with people at the free throw line all the time. I'd be like, man, make sure you extend your elbow. You know, get them thinking about something about their shot. Oh man, you bend your knees deep. Damn. Okay. All right. You know, I mean, just get them thinking about their form. Just if you can get that little bit of in their head, because I want to talk also about like the opposite of that, and that is the yips. And we saw that this playoffs with one Ben Simmons, and this is the play that kind of summed that whole thing up.
Simmons, they cleared out for him, tapping his way in, spins on Gallinari, gives it up. Oh, he was right there, and a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons.
Now, he clearly all he had to do was dunk on Trae Young. He's 6'9". Trae Young is like 5'11", 6'1", maybe. You know, it's
Wait, play that back. I missed it.
Yeah, so Ben Simmons gets the ball on the post, beats his man on a little spin move, and just passes up a dunk and passes it off to Matisse Thybulle.
Simmons, they cleared out for him, tapping his way in, spins on Gallinari, gives it up. Oh, he was right there, and a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault. He's headed to the line.
Well, but that's when you know that the game is in your head. That's a dunk for Ben Simmons right there. You got it.
And I had Rick Ankiel coming up after that. There's another clip I have there. Rick Ankiel went through a thing in the playoffs back in the 90s where he couldn't throw a strike, and his career was over after that. He had to go back to the minors and then come back as an outfielder. Couldn't pitch anymore.
Yeah, man. The mind is a crazy thing because you could really destroy your own career. As you see Ben Simmons right there, like
he hadn't played since.
what person who's 6'10", who is standing right next to the rim wouldn't just pivot and dunk on somebody who's almost a foot smaller than you? That just shows that there's something going on here. Now, with that being said, it could have been him getting away with himself. It could have been, you know, the coaching staff telling him to do a certain thing, and he was just overthinking. And, you know, like you said, Rick Ankiel with baseball, he was throwing 90, 95 miles an hour striking people out. And then one day he literally couldn't throw a strike. He couldn't throw a baseball. He wouldn't even get it over the plate. Even if he like brought his velocity down 20 miles an hour, he still couldn't get over the plate. He was missing the plate by about 5 feet. And it just shows how powerful this is, especially in the NBA, right? Because everybody, you know, whether you like LeBron or not, everybody's like, oh, he's 6'9", that's so unfair, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, dude, there's 20 other people in the league with the same body frame as him. But he's got something else going on up here. You see guys in the league all the time who are 6'10", who get out of the league within a year or so. Same thing with Kobe and MJ. Not for nothing, like, obviously Kobe and MJ were athletically gifted, but they were 6'6", you know, on a good day. There's players bigger and more physical than them, but they had something different up here. And that's what people don't, you know, they don't understand. They don't understand that Mamba mentality, you know, that Jordan mentality, that the ferocity that goes into this preparation and the skill. Some of these players in the league, they brainwash themselves to where they're the best. That's why the best are the best. And then you have other players who brainwash themselves with bad self-talk. Like, man, am I even supposed to be here? Am I good enough to be here? Why am I missing all these shots? And then they start, you know, going down that rabbit hole of why things aren't going their way. So it's just crazy the tricks your mind can play on yourself in a good and a bad way.
Yeah. So Brian and I both coach, and we coach our sons and we coach, you know, other young kids and stuff like that. And so what you mentioned was interesting about coaches getting into a player's head. And sometimes there's some of that negative talk comes from the coaches. They're either trying to tell you not to do something, and one of the worst things I think you can do is tell someone, if you want to redirect their energy, but like trying to tell them not to shoot or not to try to make plays or anything like that. We can work at practice in a detailed way on making better decisions with the ball and doing things a different way. But in a game, if you're making aggressive mistakes, I'd much rather that than you making these yip type of like what Ben Simmons did just there, where I don't want that anywhere near your head. If anything, I'm telling you, you need to go up stronger. Why'd you pass up that shot? Why are you kicking it out? What are you afraid of? Go up. You're a beast out here. Go out there and kill it. So is that how you approach it too, Brian?
I have several years of coaching underneath my belt, and every year you learn more and more, and you learn more about the kids. I mean, we're talking, I had them since U9, I guess, as a team, and now they're U13. And every year I become more and more resolved and learning. Like before you even said that, I said to myself, like, I need to ease up off the negative talk, because sometimes I'll see, for example, I got a Mamba mentality son who he want to take the one-on-one every single time. Right. And I got one who rather defer. Okay. So in the middle of the game, I might say, yo, why you ain't just take that? Or to the one that got the Mamba, I'd be like, yo, why you ain't pass? Right. So I think next season, I'm going to come at it like, I'm not going to say anything unless it's positive, unless it's like, good job. I'm going to wait to halftime and then make the adjustments at halftime just to see how the players adjust and Because like you said, we train in practice. We train every morning. We're up at 6 a.m. I'm training the boys every morning. So at some point you have to just give them some trust, right? And the one who wants to take everybody one-on-one, it's like, sometimes, you want to say, hey, pass it to other teammates, but it's like that, like the one time we were playing this one team, like he goes through 3 guys and scores. Right, so it's just like, how do you tell them not to do that?
Right. Yeah, the only thing I do is I had a kid like that this past season with my son Jace, and this kid is huge. I mean, he's built like LeBron, 12 years old, and like built like a linebacker for a high school team already.
Wow.
And so he would do that. But the problem was then late in the game, teams would just start to collapse on him and force him to get rid of the ball. And then at that point, nobody else has been involved. So
they're cold.
They're like, what you threw me the ball? It's like one of these kids where like the pitcher hadn't thrown a strike all game, or he's been mowing everybody down, and then they hit a ground ball to the shortstop, and the shortstop makes an error. And it's like, well, it's been like 75 pitches, and this is the first time a ball has been hit on the infield.
Right.
So what I told him was before a couple of games, I was like, hey, look, this is what I need you to do. Let's work on getting everybody involved early, work everybody in, find ways to get people involved, get them shots. And then whenever I need you to go into takeover mode, because they know all this, they got all this lingo in NBA 2K and all this stuff. So they know what this shit means.
Yeah.
So that's when, now that you've gotten everybody else involved, now you can actually take somebody one-on-one and they're not already collapsing the lane on you. And then if you do have to kick, that kid's already gotten 3 threes off his, from the corner because you kicked it to him early in the game. And so he's in rhythm and he's ready for that shot instead of, oh shit, I didn't even know you were going to throw me the ball. The ball goes off his hands out of bounds. So that's important.
100%, Chad. And the best point guards in the history of the game of basketball all have had that mindset, right? So when Steve Nash was on those Suns teams, he would have it in his head subconsciously like, oh, I haven't got the ball to Amari in like 3 plays. Let me get him the ball. Or Grant Hill hasn't had a touch in 3 plays. Let me get him involved. Let me get him in pick and roll. Jason Kidd, when he was on the Nets, you've seen the games where he could have 40 points at a clip easily, but that wasn't the way he played, right? He played in that flow state where he was getting everybody involved. Let me come off his pick and roll, throw to Kenyon Martin. Bang, done. Let me come off his pick and roll, throw to Richard Jefferson. Let me kick to Vince Carter. Oh, now it's go mode or I got to take over? Let me take over. And you see that with guys in the league. Even somebody as good as Kevin Durant right now in the Nets, right? Like he could probably average 40 points, 45 points in the league right now. But he defers, let these guys get involved. And then when you see him in the fourth quarter when he's got to take over, he takes over. Now the circle – go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say to circle back to your point about the coaching. I have a little bit of coaching experience myself with basketball. And I'm all about like that positive self-talk, the next play mentality. because I feel like when you're in that negative state, if you just keep kicking on yourself or kicking on somebody else, it's just going to go further and further.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody's playing really good and their confidence is up, that's the time to critique them, because you could say, yo, man, it's called, I forget in psychology, it's called like the sandwich pattern. Like, bro, you're playing great defense right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing everything amazing. I need you to be a little bit more active on this end, set some screens and stuff. But other than that, you're doing great. Because when somebody's in a good mood, they could take that criticism.
Mm-hmm.
But if Hotep just missed 6 shots and I say, bro, what are you doing? You just missed 6 shots. he's gonna jump off that cliff like, oh yeah, man, he's right, man. Or if I'm like, bro, you good, keep shooting, like stay in a rhythm, you just rushing your shot, he might be like, oh, he's right. Next thing you know, he hits 2 shots, So it's like those little things can really make a huge difference.
Yeah, when I played ball at the playground, I had that same mentality where, you play to 11 or you play to 12, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was usually the point. And if I gave myself a score on, skills, I was maybe like a 7.7 and 8 all around the board, right? I wasn't great at anything, but I could dribble, I could pass, and I could shoot.
You're like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I could do it all. And I defend and rebound were 2 things I was really good. I got long arms and I had some hops. So I'd come in a game and I'd make sure I get boards. Let me get my defensive boards. And if I could get some offensive boards, I like to sneak around because I had that Dennis Rodman radar where I could see the ball and know where it was going to bounce to. So I'd go grab it, kick it out. So playing a point, I dish it out. And what I realized was because I had a little bit of skill, I was an 8 in the handles. I watched a lot of A1 tapes. And what I realized was when I came in the game trying to show it off, they would clamp down on me, like Chad said.
Mm-hmm.
So I would come in the game dishing. And then by the time they got to like 7 points,
just saw some people up.
My defender's not even defending me no more.
Right.
I get the ball, he not gonna shoot. So the ball cut me, bang, I hit that too. They be like, yo, step up on him.
Yeah. Now you blow by him.
So then now I blow by him and I go to the hole because I wasn't afraid to crash the hole. Now it's point game. I come down, I hit the 2 again, and it's game over.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that so many times, but really not so much as getting my teammates involved, just trying to get my defender not to defend me.
Yeah. No, and
I mean that's a high IQ move, man. Like a lot of people, that's an underrated aspect of the game, is just outthinking the game. That's how I get by a lot of the times, I'm like 6'3", 6'4" with my shoes on a basketball court. I'm really not the biggest person, There's 7-footers out there. So I got to think of my head like, how can I defeat the game within itself, So like reading the ball off the rim, noticing matchups. Let me give a pump fake, let the dude jump, and then I jump into him. Now he got foul trouble, he's on the bench. I've always had to do that because dudes were just more athletic than me. So that's definitely an underrated part of the game is thinking it through.
Well, and one time last season, it was about a year ago, my oldest one, he was playing in a game. He has this coach that he played for Kansas and everything. And so it's like, there's a different level of like expectation that and I think a lot of times there's people who, and we saw this with Magic Johnson, with Larry Bird was okay, but he still, I still think he left a lot to be desired. I think there's sometimes where people see stuff that other people like they're like otherworldly, like you were talking about with Kobe and MJ, where they have, and LeBron, they have like something else up here that other people with the same physical gifts as them don't seem to have. That they see things faster and more clearly. They see it on another level. Well, anyway, so my son turns the ball over, and then and so now he knows that like he's kind of looking over his shoulder. It's kind of like one of those deals where like the quarterback throws an interception and now he's worried because the backup has been kind of nipping at his heels and there's been a quarterback controversy already. Well, so the coach tells him, he's like, one more. And so then like the whole rest of the time, like he's really, really careful with the ball. And to me, like, I get it. Like the ball is the most important commodity on the court, right? Like you can't do anything if you don't have the ball. And if you keep turning it over, that's terrible. But at the same time, if you get so much into somebody's head that they're afraid to make plays and they're instead trying to defer to not get in trouble, it's a whole different mindset. And so like what I try to instill in all of my players when I'm coaching is, as long as you are making plays to try to get someone else to score or get yourself to score, then there's going to be some mistakes here and there. Don't do something stupid and commit a foul right after or anything like that. But I do want you to work hard getting that rebound on the other end. I want you to work hard defending on the other end. I want you to come back on the other side, set a screen. I need you to help the team some other way. But getting into their heads about like trying to tell kids not to turn the ball over, to me that's one of those things that like if you're not working on that stuff in practice to where everybody knows how to take care of the ball, once the ball's out on the court, telling people not to turn the ball over is asking them to think about turnovers.
Yeah.
and
man,
instead of thinking about scoring.
Dude, that happened to me in college, right? Like when I was in high school, I pretty much had the green light. You know, I was the guy. I went to a small school, so it was pretty much I had the green light. Every shot I took was considered a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Where I went to college, my first year was a learning experience. Like I had to realize like, oh, this isn't a good shot. And that was totally fine. Like once I got to the point, I'm like, you know what, you're right, this isn't a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went to a different college after community college. I had a different coach, and he would do that. He would be like, hey, I need you to take care of the ball in there. Like, don't turn it over. The first thing I'm thinking of is, all right, don't turn it over or I'm coming out, because I had a short leash.
Exactly.
So now instead of playing in that flow state, I'm playing not to make mistakes. And
Right.
what am I doing? I'm making mistakes.
Exactly.
He was also like, you know, I don't really want you shooting threes unless you're wide open. So in my head now, yeah, exactly. It was crazy. There's a reason why people don't keep in touch with him.
Imagine somebody telling Steph Curry, I need you to not shoot threes unless you're wide open. Like, you know how many times he shoots shots where there's like this much of a window for him to get that shot off and he still buries it?
Could you imagine if Steve Kerr went up to him and was like, hey, man, you really shouldn't shoot threes unless you got like 10 feet of space? He's not going to be able to flow in his game. He's going to be thinking, all right, is this defender 10 feet away? Nah, he's about 9.5. I can't shoot this.
Or when he goes 0 for his first 6, if he tells him, hey, man, what are you doing out here? You know, you're killing me. No, he just lets him keep shooting because he knows
exactly.
it's going to come.
He is a perfect example. Him and Klay Thompson. You'll see games where they start off the game 0 for 6 or like 1 for 8, and they're like, oh, they're having a off shooting night. And then they come in the third quarter, and he hits like 6 in a row.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, his shooting percentage just went from 17% to like 52% in the game. It's like, did he really have a bad night, or did he just have a bad quarter?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, real quick, shout out to Wasted Talent Podcast.
He was mad you mentioned Steve Nash. He said you should have brought up Magic Johnson instead.
He wasn't around for Magic Johnson. That's
Man,
right?
Listen, bro, Magic.
Nobody see Magic play except for Chad and Jonesy with their old asses.
Hey, look, we can't all be great.
By the time I watched Magic Johnson play, his knees were shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I'll say this too. There's a whole different it's completely different watching highlights of people or highlights of teams versus like watching them play live while you're a kid, while you know, whatever, even as an adult. Like everybody knows like who Ben Roethlisberger is, but you can't tell me who Fran Tarkenton is except for like a handful of NFL Films clips that you see that, you know, it's all his best plays, you know? And so you don't get to, they don't show you all the bonehead plays that that some of those guys made when you're watching all the highlights and everything. You have to go watch a full length game, and we don't have time for that. That's go watch every player play full length games. But yeah, it's those guys were on a different level. But Magic was different because I think he didn't so much do the takeover mode type stuff that Nash would do. Like Nash would just. I remember there was one game where Phoenix was down like 10 with like 50 seconds left or something like that. And Nash by himself tied that game up and sent it into overtime.
He ain't do it like Reggie Miller, though.
No, not like Reggie Miller. But I'm saying like Reggie Miller wasn't a point guard, though. He had Mark Jackson. You know,
he ain't do it like Reggie, though.
Yeah, Reggie was like, but Reggie would steal the ball and then he'd take 8 steps back. Like
Reggie was unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. Strapped.
What was that, like 9 points in 11 seconds?
11 seconds.
Have you ever seen the I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen
ever.
the Tracy McGrady against the Spurs where he scored 13 points in 30 seconds. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
That was talk about a flow state. What?
Yeah. I remember there was one when Jason Williams was at Duke that where they were down.
White
they were
chocolate?
down like 10. No. He went to Florida. He went to like West Virginia and Florida. I actually got to see him when I was doing play-by-play for McNeese in Lake Charles back in the 90s. I got to see our team play against Jason Williams, the White Chocolate, in person. That was insane. Like I was like, oh my God, this dude's definitely going to the league. But no, this was Jay. He's now Jay Williams, the one from Duke, who's on TV now on ESPN. Yeah. He did that with Duke. They were down 10 with like under a minute to go, and he like just about single-handedly. They kept like stealing the inbound and shit, and he was just pulling threes as soon as he'd steal it. Brought him back, and they won that game late. Jonesy's.
What did Jay say?
Yo, one time I was at the court, and somebody's uncle who had just got out of jail was at the court.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a soccer background, so I have strong legs, and I squat and I do my thing. So, but I'm skinny at the same time, right? Like I'm 150 pounds, and this dude just got out of jail, and he's all jacked. But if you know anything about dudes that's jacked, they never work on their legs.
Never.
So he trying to post me up, and he can't move me. So he complaining like, "Oh, he pushing me." I'm like, I wanted to be like, "Nah, you got weak legs," but I wasn't about to fight no jailbird on the court, right? Because he had an attitude the whole game. So the funny thing is about me on the court, I get pissed off too. Like I get road rage, but I get that on the court. Like, yo, this big ass dude calling fouls. So it was like, I think we needed a 2 to end the game. And he was just finished complaining about me on defense, and they scored. I said, yo, give me the ball. I went down court. Boom, ended the game. Looked at him like, complain about that. He was so mad. His whole face.
He was sick. I know he was sick.
Man.
And when I get mad, I play better. You know what I'm saying?
No, same here.
Sometimes I'll start talking trash, like just to get the other guy to say something crazy to me, because I need that spark. Because I'm like, I'll just be out of it, and it's not like I just need something. I just need that spark. I need somebody to press my buttons. Like all right, now you turn me up, like that adrenaline mode.
All right, so one of the things I wanted to touch on was like how we can find that flow state, how we can find the zone, and without forcing it, but like how we can kind of create that. And that's actually a great way, because what does that do? That takes your mind completely off of all where your elbow is, where your feet are, all this other kind of crap, where your follow through is and everything. None of that stuff is in your mind. All that's in your mind is, fuck that dude. I'm drilling this in his face. That's it. And that's all you care about.
There's one surefire way I always I'm triple dipping tonight, Jabari.
That's right.
I'm about to get back on my channel in 15 minutes. I would focus on breathing. I would over exaggerate breathing. Like I would come down the court and I got the ball, I'd be like, and just do that over and over again. And that just took me out of conscious mind, because I'm focused on breathing. But I think it depends on your personality type. You know, what puts you in the zone. You know, for my extroverted son, for him, it's when I cheer him on, or after he scores, he's a completely different person, right? After he gets his first goal, oh my God, he's a beast for the rest of the game.
Takeover mode, yeah.
Yeah. And then the introverted one, it's like after somebody fouls him hard, now he's like, what? Or if we start losing real bad, then it turns
salty.
On. Yeah, he's mad, right?
Yeah.
So I think it depends on your personality type. You got to figure out what it is that gets you as an individual in your zone, identify that, and then learn how to turn it on consciously.
100%. I was gonna say too, like that talking trash to get you to a next level. There's also a fine line that could drop you down, because I've talked my way into like, yeah, you can't. But I've also talked my way like out of where I've been terrible, and I'm like, yo, this guy's got me right now. Like, oh, you bitch ass motherfucker, block. And I'll miss like 4 shots and be like, damn, bro.
Yeah, especially if they know how to push your buttons, if they got that way to talk shit back to you to get in your head.
And sometimes when you talk shit, you might put him in his flow state.
That's right.
Yeah, I've done that. I've been like, yo, you weak, bro. I just got 3 buckets on you. Like, shut up. And all of a sudden, it'll just go crazy. I'll be like, People used to do that to Kobe. He'd be like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be talking the whole time, and then fourth quarter, somebody would be like, "Man, you have a terrible game." He just look at them crazy. And I'm like 20 in a quarter.
You're an idiot. Why would you do that?
So
they
you
did
gotta.
they did the same thing to MJ too. Yeah.
I think Hotep is right, man. You really got to know yourself.
You gotta be
'Cause
careful.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I've talked myself out of some terrible, like I talked myself into some terrible games, trying to be a hero.
Yeah,
But it is a super fine line though, but between like having that looking for the ball and looking for your shot, and like wanting the ball and wanting to, and just feeling it as soon as you catch it, you're ready to shoot, and you're putting it up there because you feel this shot's going in. And there's that, but then there's that flip side of number one, the Danny Green heat check where he he'll just heat check no matter what. Like I'm 0 for 6, heat check anyway. And taking bad shots, but then also having that psychology in your head that says, okay, I want to feel this, I want to look for this shot, but even though I'm putting this shot up, as I'm going up, I'm like, I don't know if this is right, and all that shit happens in like a millisecond, But there's all this psychology going on, so it's back to the getting out of your conscious mind and trying to find a way to focus on something else, so that you can let your subconscious mind take over, because all that muscle memory is where the subconscious is going to fall back on.
Here's
and
something
if you
simple.
just let that go. Yeah, it's usually just something really, really quick and simple.
What Wayne Gretzky say? Offense wins games, defense wins championships, right? And I tell my kids that all the time. But if you ever want to get in that zone, start on defense.
Yep.
Get you a couple of good plays, get you a couple of good rebounds, a couple of good steals. Because what you need is something to boost your confidence. That confidence boosts the dopamine, and now you're smelling yourself. Because that's really what the flow state is. It's a zone, but you smelling yourself. So you can start off on the defensive end and get a good couple of plays in. Usually that transitioned into the offensive end of the court.
And even if it doesn't, at the very least, you're contributing defensively,
right?
And you're helping your team on one end of the court. Whereas when you're fucking up on the offensive end and you're letting it get into your head, now you're like thinking about that, and you put your hands on your head. Your man's running down the court. He's snowbirding. He just got a layup on a breakout because you're worried about that shot that you just airballed or something like that. Right, and it fucks with your head and it messes you up on both ends.
I was gonna say too, right? There was you guys know Sean O'Malley, the UFC guy. He got the rainbow hair. He's kind of young, but he's kind of new to the scene. But he's popular because he got the rainbow hair, and he's known for knocking people out. But I was listening to an interview with him, and he says like whenever he's out of his mind, like he always has this saying. He's like too fast, too quick, like too sharp. And like if he's ever like out of that zone, he'll just like keep repeating that, like that little catchphrase to himself to get him back in that state, just like subconsciously, like I'm too fast, I'm too smart, I'm too quick, or whatever it was. But just to reassure himself, like I'm the shit. And that's just something I've done too, right? Like I wrote on my basketball shoes like next play or like head up. So like if I miss a shot and I'm like, damn, I'm looking down, I see it on my basketball sneakers, like bro, just keep going on, And then like you said, to establish that confidence, most of the time I'll try to get a quick layup or something easy, like just to see the ball go through the net. Once you see the ball go through the net,
the free throw line,
get fouled, something just to spark that. Because once you get those little, little confidence here, little confidence there, then you start flowing. Hit a three, then you're unstoppable. But if you're forcing stuff up, forcing bad shots, you're not making good plays, that's going to take you out of your zone. Same thing on the soccer field. I know you brought up the soccer background, Brian. Like Ronaldo and Messi, they're not thinking about things. They're just in that state. Like they're controlling the pace of the game. Puyol, who was on Barcelona, he was controlling nobody's getting any goals. This is my area. They're not thinking about like, oh, this guy's fast. This guy has good footwork. Like, no, none of that goes through their head. There's a reason why those guys are the best of the best.
Confidence.
So real quick, we'll let everybody so that everybody knows Ant has real bona fides. We're gonna throw this up here. This is Ant going on his own. Ant dropping bombs. So I put this together. It's my boys. That's my oldest one there. He's doing his thing. Pulling out, banging a three.
Let's go.
And then the littlest man, pulling up from the volleyball line. He did his own little 8-0 run off there.
Now the little one gonna be the problem. I'm telling you right now, he gonna be the problem.
Yeah,
because he not hesitating.
No.
He came out of court like,
yo,
he not waiting for people to get in position. He not looking at the defense.
Right.
you saw it. You could see it in the run back too when it went through. Like the way he ran
way he
back with
kicking
his
his feet
shoulder.
up.
He's like, you could tell his juice is just going. He's like, yeah, I'm here. You know he's going crazy on defense too. When Chad sent it to me, I'm like, yo, this guy, he pulled it from the volleyball line, bro, with no hesitation. No hesitation, bro. None. It was cash.
later, like the next week or whatever, his brother did something like that, and like that became the catchphrase for it. Like, so Jace is the youngest one, Jonathan's the oldest one. So Jonathan does that. He comes down like on a break, nobody's in position, and he just pulls up. And so like I was like, oh, he's Jason it. Because that was the thing. It was like it became a verb at that point. It was when you pull up. There's one I have somewhere where Jace comes down and like he's got a breakaway layup, and he just said, "Fuck it," pulled from 3, all by himself. Just pull up from 3-point line. Bang. It's like, why are you you could have gone all the way for a layup. Why would you risk that? Because there's people coming behind you and everything here.
You can't even unteach that. You just like, all right, go ahead.
Just let him cook. Yeah, let him do his thing and just kind of let it flow. But yeah, so the other thing too, like from a team standpoint, working on the defensive end is a great way to create offense. Like it's if you're worried about, like, especially if you're playing a team that is really well coached and they're really disciplined in the half court, creating transition is a great way that you can get yourself an extra 10, 12 points a game just by playing really good defense and rebounding well, because you get runouts, you get those little, pick sixes and stuff like that. So it's individually, yeah, like it's a great way to get yourself back in the game. And the other thing is, like you were talking, Ant, if you feel like you got a short leash, lock down on defense. That leash gets a lot longer.
Yep.
So you can make up for some of those mistakes if you're playing good lockdown defense, especially if you can shut down a really good offensive player on the other team. So anyway, I know, Brian, you got the big interview with Dr. Tanai Ricks coming up. So we want everybody to go over to Hotep Jesus' channel and check that out. We appreciate you coming on tonight. This is a great episode. Hope everybody gets something out of it, because I think this can translate into every aspect of your life, whether it's shooting your shot in the dating scene or in business or anything like that. Let your subconscious take over all that stuff and just kind of let it flow through you, and don't overthink it, because it's not productive. All right, gentlemen, y'all take it easy. Peace. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.
All right.